Howard folk, my name is the Metagoblin and today I'm going to be teaching you how to completely remaster Oblivion in 2017. We are going to be revamping this game so much it will literally look about 5 years younger. Most mods, you can only make a game look about a few years younger, but with Oblivion you can seriously go to town. I mean, the modding community is just huge, so we can really make this game look very young indeed. We're going to be running through a number of graphical changes, graphical mods, and a few optional overhaul mods which you may want to try out for, if you want an even fresher experience when playing Oblivion. Before we jump in, remember to watch the entire video very closely, because if you don't, well, you might end up completely destroying your game and have to reinstall it. Be sure to leave a like so the rest of my subscribers can actually see the video, and to subscribe so you don't miss my next video, which will be a guide on how to remaster Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So anyway, let's jump in. Now, before you do any kind of modding for this game, you're going to have to get the Oblivion script extender. I'll have links to all the essential things and all the essential mods that you will need for this guide in the description. The rest will, you can very easily find it on the Nexus. Just Google Nexus Evan Oblivion and it's happy days. Also be sure that, when you download any kind of mod, follow the instructions extremely carefully. Normally when you press the download button, a notification will appear telling you the precise requirements for that mod to work, which could be another mod. So you need one mod for another mod to work. It could be Blockhead, for instance, because Blockhead allows modders to customize the races more, so any kind of race mod you're probably going to have to get Blockhead or something like that. I would also definitely recommend, probably it is quite mandatory to do this actually, is to get the 4GB memory patch. Basically this will allow your game to use more of your RAM, which means you can throw more mods into the game without it crashing. So yeah, be sure to do all this essentially, essential, very important, tedious, gritty stuff before we can start having some fun. So the first mod I have for you is called Oblivion Reloaded. What it essentially is going to do is push your graphics further, and it will also include a few really cool gameplay features. So, I mean, it will push it higher resolution. You could have the ability to have an infinite render distance if you're completely mental. Better field of view, better shaders, basically better textures, basically everything, right? It also comes with a few cool gameplay features like an immersive first-person HUD. It just basically feels a lot better. Like when you look down, you're actually going to see your armor, stuff like that. It also implements dual wielding. You can put your weapons, when you put your weapons away, they'll literally go on your back, or shields, stuff like that. And also includes some cheeky mounted combat. And there's a lot more. Go and check it out on the website. There's loads of new features that have actually been added. And it's not just a graphical mod. It adds a lot of cool things as well. For number 2, we have a tweaked EMB. I mean, this doesn't really need an explanation, does it really? I mean, look, it is just bloody gorgeous, I mean, here are some sexy screenshots of how literally how far you can take this mod. Remember to follow the instructions very carefully when installing it. You're going to need the EMB preset file from the Nexus. Make sure you put everything in the right place. And then you'll also need the injector file from the EMB website for this mod to work. But just follow the instructions on the website very carefully and you should be okay. For number 3, we're going to talk about basically retexturing the game for our third mod, well, a number of mods. So you have 2 very cool overhaul options, which are, I think it's Qualls, I can't really pronounce that properly, but it's Qualls Texture Pack or Really Textured Maps for Vanilla, which is an obviously very creative name. They will, let's have a look at the script here. For some reason my bloody recording software is in the way of the script, which is very useful. They will sharpen a lot of the building textures. I mean, the grounds, well, not the grounds, but the ground, and the mountains, the rocks, the snow, all the kind of cool, sexy stuff like that. Just pick the one that you prefer, I guess. We also have a number of more specific dungeon interiors or dungeon interior retextures, which are basically, you got your caves, your ruins, and your forts. There's all individual retexture mods for them. You've got Amp's Cavern retexture. You've got I'm probably saying that wrong. A-lead Ruins retexture, Fort Ruins retexture, Rocks retexture if you want some pretty cool rocks. You've got a sewer retexture, you've got sort of like a landscape retexture you might want to have a little look at, and a grass overhaul. So if you really like your grass, you can change the grass if you're really that bothered about that. So yeah, just check them all out, see which ones you prefer. They will basically sharpen the entire like dungeon map and bring the graphics very up to date. So they go very well hand in hand with these E&B mods. Now that's it for graphics. There are alternative E&B mods that you may want to check out. I'd also recommend getting the mod Let There Be Darkness, which makes the dungeons much darker and more immersive, which I think is pretty dope. So, I'm just going to quickly finish off talking about an absolutely outstanding overhaul mod. It is called Remaster Oblivion Overhaul version 13A. Pretty easy to find on Binexus. It's going to make the game a much fresher experience. I won't be able to play the game without this mod anymore. It changes the way that enemies level in the game. I mean, Oblivion, like after Morrowind, the leveling scale system, I mean, it was a bit... It's okay, but it has its like advantages, but I mean, we talked about it in previous videos, it's a bit babyish. It makes the game a little bit stupid and a little, like, too easy in certain ways. And what, you know, since everything basically scales to you, but this overhaul mod will change how the difficulty actually works. It does it in a very interesting way. It won't change, it won't be as simple as Morrowind, like, there won't be certain areas simply higher than others for the entire game, and that's it. Like, you go to Anvil area and there's like level 30 to 40 mobs there. It's not like an MMO. It won't do that kind of thing. The game will still scale to you. It kind of works. It's kind of going to work a little bit like how the Witcher 3 enemy scaling patch worked, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so it won't be like that. The main thing that it changes, which is really cool, is how dungeons work. Like, dungeons will become like progressively more difficult as you go on. Like, basically every dungeon feels like a proper dungeon. Sometimes in Oblivion, you know, you're going through a dungeon, but sometimes in the middle is the hardest part rather than at the end. But this is going to feel like a proper dungeon crawl, and it's all going to have very interesting boss battles. I mean, if you've seen it in my previous playthroughs, it is very challenging, and you have to be very strategic to overcome a lot of the encounters, which is really fun. And also, the further you go into a dungeon, the better loot you find. The loot tables have been completely revamped, just changed. And there's also 100 of new lore-friendly enemies to fight. I'm losing my voice a bit here. But like, for instance, like when we're doing the playthrough, we're getting attacked by like spectre dogs and spectre people in this dungeon. And then we had to fight this warlock. It was pretty dope. And yeah, there's loads more features in this mod. It took me ages to go through it all. I mean, when you have this mod installed, you literally find something new every day. It's like playing a completely new game, which is pretty cool. But anyway, I'm going to leave the video there. Right now, you're probably going to see some really cool videos on the screen, very similar to this video. Probably me chatting some absolute nonsense as usual about Oblivion and how it's just obviously a superior game. My name is the Metagoblin, and until my next video, ciao.